Renting versus buying a home.
Right now, I'm just renting. It's really silly because prices are really high.
In your future, what do you see yourself doing? Renting or potentially buying a home?
I would say buying a home.
You want to buy here in Toronto?
No.
I would love if I could have a house.
How big of a house are we talking? Dream with me.
Okay, if we're dreaming, then I'd like a big house, comfy, cozy for, me, myself. If I ever get a cat, me and my cat.
Real estate, renting versus buying.
Oh, I would never buy.
You would never buy?
No.
Would you advise other young people who are thinking about buying a home to do so?
Well, there are benefits in the long run. That's what they call generational wealth.
10-4 on that.
Thank you.
I was initially looking at buying a home,
How much money were you looking to put down?
300,000.
You have $300,000 in your bank account?
I saved up a lot of money.
All right, what do you do, sir?
I am a data scientist.
Okay.
I'm a data scientist.
Cling, 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 cling.
Yes. All right, I'm getting late for work. I'm so sorry.
Hey everyone, we're back with another episode of Building Better with Brandon, powered by TD, and today we are talking what you guys are always talking about, real estate. Latanya, Daniel, thanks so much for joining me. When we talk about real estate, why is it important to have a stake in it?
What we find in North America, especially Canada, if you really want to get a stake in generational wealth, it happens where, real estate only appreciates in value, and the ability to transfer the wealth through real estate is also possible.
So what do you say to that person who says, okay, I heard getting into real estate can be a good thing, but I don't know if I can afford it?
Sometimes the reality is different from what you can actually afford.
And what do you mean by that?
Take, for instance, you buy a property of 300,000 right now. In the next 5 years, hypothetically, let's say the property goes up to 500, you could sell that property, move the equity into something better.
Do you know some of the benefits of home ownership?
No.
Do you know what home equity is?
No.
Girl, we gotta talk.
Okay, let's talk.
What is that equity?
The equity is just the amount you buy a property for. Over time, you bought it for 400,000. Now it's what, 600,000. Now you have about 200,000 equity.
If you can get in earlier while you're younger, you have more time to build that equity with your home, right? What type of transformational things can equity do for you as a person?
With equity, some people can think about selling, getting a bigger home because the family is getting bigger, or simply just to take out money to just do some renovations.
Most people tend to use what is called a home equity line of credit, and their children actually are moving towards home ownership. They can actually either give them a gift letter or literally do a withdrawal from their home equity line of credit to help their child with their own home purchase. And that is you utilizing current real estate wealth to create successive generational wealth for your children.
Do you know what it takes to buy a home in this country?
At the moment, slightly.
So Daniel, let's role play here. I have a job.
Okay.
Pays me about $60,000.
All right.
I pay just over $2,000 in rent in downtown Toronto. And I've been seeing this, some clips online saying, hey, maybe I should think about purchasing a condo.
Yeah.
I want to purchase a home. I come to you. What's the first thing I should be asking you?
I'm looking to buy my first property, and how do I go about it? I would ask you, depending on what your scenario is, how much income do you make?
Right.
How much savings do you have away, which means your down payment, and how is your credit?
So let's say I make $60,000.
Yeah.
So now I make $60,000. Second thing is you're going to ask me how much do I have saved? How much should I have saved?
That depends on what you could qualify for. So let's say you could buy a property of $500,000, for example. You need 5% of that as a down payment, minimum down payment for a first-time home buyer.
So let's say you do that minimum down payment of 5%, which is $25,000.
Yeah.
Is that all that I have to have saved up to get this, $500,000 home?
Not necessarily.
Oh gosh, what else do I have to have saved up?
So the 5%, which is the 25,000, is
Yeah.
the down payment, minimum down payment you need. But you also need to use a proxy amount of about 1.5% of the purchase amount, so that includes your closing costs.
Okay.
And your closing costs can include, let's talk about your lawyer fees, let's talk about your land transfer tax, let's talk about your appraisal fee, let's talk about some petty things that comes with home buying process. So the 1.5% of the purchase price is supposed to include that amount.
So when we come to planning out that down payment, what is the best advice you would give to people, Latanya?
ways that people can actually get to this down payment is to walk into any of our TD branches and connect with a financial advisor or a personal banker. And the idea is to understand the different opportunities to save. So it could be through savings accounts, through tax-free savings, through the first home savings account, through the registered retired savings plan, and then automating these savings, because the habit of saving is one that we actually have to create and stick to. The other thing is to ensure that you get a pre-approval.
Does that cost money to get a pre-approval?
No.
Oh, well, I don't know. Some people don't know that. Some people might think you have to pay for that.
It's just peace of mind.
Yeah.
It gives you peace of mind. It puts you in a better spot to negotiate. It puts you in a better spot to just get out there and find something that you want.
I would never buy.
You would never buy?
No.
Are you currently a renter right now?
I'm a renter.
And you're okay with that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like it's the only. I don't think anyone in our generation, unless they have like mommy and daddy's money, can do it, right?
Speak on it. You know, there are a lot of people out there who are renting right now, right? And there are people who are out there saying renting's not a bad thing, but there's pros and cons to each situation.
So when we think about renting, we have to think about whose mortgage are we paying when we're spending this money month over month. And when you think about the fact that when you pay rent, yes, you have a good accommodation situation, but at the same time, you are not stacking investments for yourself. You're actually helping your landlord to exit their mortgage. So when you think about what that expense looks like, it's better to talk to a mobile mortgage specialist like Daniel to understand how that particular payment could help you to get into your own mortgage and pay your own mortgage instead of paying a landlord's mortgage.
Is homeownership still in your dream plans?
Babe, do you want to speak on it?
Until the interest rates come down. I mean, what can you do?
Oh, so interest rates are a big factor for you. I know that a lot of people look at interest rates as a big thing. Why is that a big thing?
It's very simple. Interest rate determines how much you pay every month. So the lower your interest rate is, the lower your payments are. And then the higher your interest rate is, the higher your payments will be.
So what can I do if I come to you looking for a mortgage and I want to get the lowest interest rate? How do I need to make sure I'm positioned to get the lowest interest rate?
That's my job, because my job is to make sure you get the lowest rate possible.
Yeah.
That I can make sure that it's affordable to you. And the good thing about pre-approval again is that whatever rates I get you at that particular point in time is locked in for 120 days.
Okay.
So within the next 4 months, if rates goes higher, you're good. But if it goes lower, I can even get you something lower.
So if prices go down, would you potentially think about
Potentially
purchasing a
think
home?
about purchasing a home, but not for living, probably for profit, not for living. No.
So you rather be like
Yeah,
an investor
invested,
and
yeah.
then have an investment
Yeah,
property
yeah.
and then just continue to rent.
Exactly.
A common thing we've been hearing is that people are buying an investment property as their first property, let's say in a cheaper part of the country, and then choosing to rent or, find the easily affordable place to live in the city that they want to live in. Do you think that's a good idea?
Yes, it is a good idea, because whatever gets your feet into the game, you're already one step ahead.
But of course, there's always risks when it comes to investments. So we do got to talk about that as well. So what are some of those risks?
You got to think about the market fluctuation. You got to think about where you're buying, how volatile is that? If anything happens to the market right now, just like we're saying these days, is it going to go down so low? Is it going to remain balanced, or is it going to go up high? So if you speak to your real estate agent as a subject expert, for example, they will be able to guide you through all those pieces to be able to know if that's the right choice to do or if that's the right city for you to buy in.
I've been a homeowner for about 30 years.
Oh, you're a lucky guy.
I had to wait until I inherited some money.
If you didn't have that inheritance, would you have been able to afford a home at that time?
No.
Are you and your friends already talking about the fact that homes are so expensive here in
Yeah,
Toronto?
I think it's a concern to a lot of youth
Yeah.
because they're going to be the ones suffering from that, like in the long term, and they already see their peers and their family suffering from that kind of stuff.
Are you renting right now?
Yeah.
Yeah? How do you feel about renting?
In Toronto, not that good. Rents
Why?
rents are pretty high. I'm paying 2,400 for one bedroom and hall. And if you go out, then most of the jobs are in Toronto, so you have to come to Toronto, and then you have to tackle the traffic, and then you contemplate your life whether you should go outside or stay in Toronto. But then the rents are like this, and it's a whole vicious cycle.
These are conversations that we have every day with our clients, especially with me. I would try to encourage like the community to do more in terms of getting into that market share when it comes to real estate.
But now knowing what we know now and having resources like, the Black Customer Experience, which you can access by clicking the link below, that information is readily available. And of course, for more information, especially if you are Black in this country, check out the TD, Black Customer Experience. Latanya, you and your team do an amazing job. You can find more information in the description below. And listen, stay tuned because we have even more in this episode. We also sit down with Charlene Ann Williams and Mark Steele. They're both from the Black Realtor Association of Canada. It's an organization that is proudly sponsored by TD. And listen to this, they are dedicated to empowering Black real estate professionals and their communities nationwide. We got Charlene and Mark from the Black Realtors Association of Canada. Thanks so much for joining me.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
What would you say to a young person who's looking at the current situation of like, just to get a 1-bedroom condo, you're looking upwards of $500K?
I think one of the options would be to don't be stuck on living in the GTA. Yeah. If you can afford to commute a little bit longer, hopefully on a GO train line or something like that, don't be afraid to move out. And the second option would be consider buying with someone else and share that house. If you have roommates, if you're renting, why not have a roommate with a purchase as well?
Do you think you would ever leave Toronto? Go to Thunder Bay? Sault Ste. Marie?
A lot of people moving to Hamilton right now, which is not something I would have ever considered. But if my group is moving there.
Listen, a GO train ride there's not that long.
That's
45
true.
minutes.
That's true. Yeah.
I'm planting a seed.
Are you trying to get me out?
No, I'm not trying to get you out. I'm just trying to get you to home ownership.
Right.
If that's what you want.
Fair enough.
So Charlene, when did you first buy your property?
So I bought a pre-construction in the year 2000.
Do you remember how much you bought that first home for?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Do you mind revealing?
No, it was a 1-bedroom condo, 635 square feet, right on Eglinton and Bermondsey. I paid $147,900 for that.
$147,900.
But I had $60,000 as a down payment.
Oh, so you really saved up.
Yeah.
And your first home was a condo.
It was a condo.
Because a lot of people out there, you hear the advice, start off small, like get a condo.
You have to be realistic, especially in this market. What are we talking, like first-time buyers? How much can you really afford?
Yeah.
It's not your forever home. It's your first home.
Did you end up selling that first property?
Yeah.
What was the appreciation? Like, how much did it increase in value? Do you remember?
It was probably somewhere around $220,000 I sold it for. Wow. 10 years later.
And that's equity that we're talking about, right?
Yes.
That's the wealth factor that can come from real estate.
Exactly. So I was able to parlay that into a 2-bedroom plus a den.
Well, I mean, right across the country, Canada is known to have some really expensive real estate amongst developed nations around the world. Why is that? Like, why is Canadian real estate so expensive?
I think because we have a high population, because we have a lot of people coming from outside the country. And if there are 100 properties and 500 people trying to get them, the price is going to go up.
So supply and demand thing.
Supply and demand.
I still want to buy a home, but from what it's looking like now, I don't think it would be here in Toronto at least, or in Canada, because I know you can buy homes for cheaper outside.
Well, at least you know that there are different solutions out there. Are you okay with that type of solution for yourself?
For myself, yes, but I feel like there's a lot of people that don't have that opportunity, which is unfortunate for them. So I feel like we need to work on a solution here to help people.
So I want to take this conversation a little bit even further, and talk about people of color, and what real estate can do, because there is, when you look at stats, home ownership rates are lower amongst people of color, especially in the Black community. Are you shocked when you hear that that's the case, or?
No, not shocked.
So if you do the right things, you take the right steps, research, Ask people questions and don't be afraid to say, hey, I don't know this. Can you help me? People like you and people like us who are here to educate our community and other communities that are listening as well to say, hey, there's opportunities. Here's the information that we have.
We are the part of the Black Realtors Association of Canada.
And why did that organization come to be?
We found the need for this organization to exist because we weren't being represented well. The discrimination that we experienced, especially in the rental space, it's huge. And it shouldn't happen because we are Canadian and you know, we live in Canada and we are trying to, again, navigate the space that is the Black Realtor and putting together programs and education, not just for our community, but for others that want to join us. You know, it's got to be that way because we're in Canada.
So if anybody's looking for a realtor, they can, you know, trusted realtor, they can come to your
Yes.
organization. You guys have a list of people
Yes.
that people can tap into,
Yeah.
including both of you.
Yes.
Okay. Do you think like buying a home is in your future? Do you think that is actually realistic for you?
I think I am a person who saves a lot of money, and
Good for you, props.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm a person who loves to save my money. So I guess if I work really hard, then maybe it is in the future for me to buy a house. And yeah.
Period. How many homes do you want to own in your lifetime?
I'm looking to retire shortly.
Yeah.
Big goal has always been an apartment building. If I can get 10 units in one address, that'd be my ideal. And then a place probably in Mexico, a place in Colombia, and one in probably Kenya or somewhere. Yeah,
I
those
like
are my
that.
goals,
Dream
yeah.
big.
Absolutely.
Charlene and Mark, thanks so much for joining me.
Thanks for having us, man.
Hey, it's BG, and I want to know, what do you think about what you just watched? Make sure to drop your thoughts in the comments below, but also make sure to check out even more great content like this video and this video over here. And if you haven't subscribed to the Brandon Gona Show, do so right now by clicking this button right here.